Hey everybody, what's going on? It is 7:59. Hello and good morning from Lansing, Michigan, where it snowed overnight, and I didn't bring my coat. Flurries, just some flurries here. Some light dusting of snow on the ground outside my window. As soon as this call's over, I'm heading over to do Rise for the fine folks in Lansing. It's going to be great. First time here, and I'm happy to be here. We are doing our Back on Track series. We kicked it off yesterday, with part one, which was double down on your standard, whatever that is. Your standard might be a daily number of contacts. It might be a daily number of leads added to the pipeline. It might be a number of appointments set. It could be, if you're an Inspire member, maybe you're using our 30-point tracker and all that kind of stuff. And so we said, if you're behind goal, double down on whatever that standard is, and understanding that the definition of a standard is the least you will settle for. Like some people say, my standard's 15 contacts a day. And I go, cool, how many did you make yesterday? They said 2. I went, awesome, 2 is your standard then, right? So like we have to understand your standard is the least you'll settle for. And so we got to get clarity around that. Standard should be tied to something. It should be related to your goal in some way and allow you to be on the path to the goal. Because too many people say, I want to sell 36 houses. And I go, cool, what's your daily contact standard? And they say 5. And I go, great. Is 5 a day enough for you to get 36 contracts a year? And they go, I don't know. So so figure out what your standard is, make sure it has a relationship. Isabel says, what is a 30-point tracker? That's a system we use in the Inspire Collective. If you become a member again, you've been a member before, if you come back, you'll have access to it, but it's something we use in the Inspire Collective. So anywho, I want you to double down on your standard if you are behind. Now, today in part 2, it's all about follow-up and your pipeline. And we're going to share specific, by the way, super easy but specific strategies about how you can improve your follow-up and communicate better with your pipeline. That's what we'll talk about in just a minute. But before we do that, a couple of Tell Me Something Goods, authorine. Good morning.
Good morning, James. I just want to give a shout out and a thank you to you, first of all, because of this group, you have created leaders. And so specifically this morning, I just want to shout out Shauna Claiborne, Nisi, and Mark Benson for the work that they're doing on the scripts and role play right after this call. Exactly what to say. Shauna has just, that young lady has grown since the last 2 years. Thank you, Ronnie, for that. So thank you, Shauna. Thank you, Nisi. Thank you, Mark, and all the others who lead that call. Thank you.
I'm so proud of all of you for going and doing the next right thing. Well done. Donna Gilbert, good morning.
Good morning. And that's a great setup for what I'm about to say, because I want to shout out the power of this group if you lean into it. I didn't post earlier or share that in February 5th, I actually had the largest closing of my 23-year career. It was $1.95 million. But here's how, that's not what I want to share. What I want to share is that evening when I was negotiating back and forth with the seller on behalf of my client, I reached out to Jack, Terry Story, Ellie, Elaine, Orly, and Maria Pettis. Just sent them a quick text message, and I think I sent it to you also, James. Send them a quick text message saying there is no competition. It listed at 2.1. We came in at 1.8 because I know how to price property, and that was the closer to the right answer. And right now we're going back and forth. Shall we go back with 1.9 or come in at 1.950? And each one got either called me back. This is 7 o'clock at night. This is between 7 and 8:30 at night. They either called me back or sent me a quick text message back with their answer. And we went back and not only closed for a better price, but we also got the dining room table thrown in, all the outside furniture, some little vehicle that gets you around down to the water. It was amazing, but it was the power of this group. And the reason why I bring it up today is because Maria sent me the most wonderful celebration box with little champagne and cookies and things to celebrate my achievement. Now, come on, people. There is so much energy and love in this group. I just wanted to say, lean in. The help is there. could do this together.
It's so good, Donna. Congratulations to you on that. And thanks to everybody who helped out and collaborated and mastermind with her. That's the purpose of the community. This is why I beg you to raise your hand and share on this call so that people know who you are. See, the way you become part of the community is that you become part of the community. Don't stay in the background, but raise your hand and communicate. Number two, come to our stuff that we do in person, because that amplifies it by 10 million%, if that's even possible. When you come in person, we've got our event. It's sold out, so I don't have a ticket to sell you right now. But if you come to Elevate and be purposeful about building relationships, we have about 100 tickets left for Advance in the fall. So maybe as we get closer to that, that's something you could choose to come to. That's our business planning event. And when you come in, you build solid relationships, you earn referrals, you help each other out, and your business grows. Donna, I love it. Congrats to you, and thanks to everybody who helped. All right, so let's go back in. We're doing Back on Track series. We kicked it off yesterday. We're going through Tuesday of next week, and who knows, I might extend it and make it longer. It just depends on how I'm feeling at the time. But for right now, 5 pieces. Step 1 yesterday, again, was double down on your standard, whatever it is. Remember, standard is the least you will settle for. Sometimes I say, what's your standard for contacts? You say 10. I say, great. How many did you do yesterday? You say 2. I go, perfect. 2 is your standard because you settled for 2. So figure out what's your standard. Make sure the standard has some sort of relationship to your overall annual goal. Right now, the number we like to use is it's 100 contacts to a closing. That's give or take the number. It might be a little more, a little less for you. I don't know, but that's roughly the number. Okay. So we said double down on that standard if you're behind. If you're behind goal, double down on that. Stay on mute too is another standard of this call. So then today, step 2 is master your follow-up and convert your pipeline. That's step 2. Master your follow-up and convert your pipeline. Now, a lot of times I meet agents that have a bunch of leads sitting in their database somewhere that just need simple and direct follow-up. You have business. I'm telling you right now, look at me. Everyone look in your camera and look at me. You have leads sitting in your database right now that are waiting for you to directly communicate with them. Somebody needs you, but they're not calling you because they're not thinking of you. Or there's someone who told you that they were going to need you and you forgot to follow up with them. So we got to follow up. How do you do that? Have some sort of structured follow-up system. Now, in the Inspire challenges we have given you as part of the 30-point challenge, we've broken it up into 5 database contacts, 5 follow-ups, and so on and so forth. I would find some sort of system that would allow you to do that. The next, and we've learned this from Jack Smith, that I think is a really good way to quickly reach out to maybe leads that have kind of fallen off or people you haven't heard from in a while, someone who's maybe ghosted you, maybe a lukewarm kind of lead, is to do a video text or video DM. Get into their socials and send them a video text. Hey, you were on my mind. Last time we talked, you said your plan was to do blank. Is that still your plan? And send that as a video text or a video DM to their Facebook or Instagram or whatever. The last time we talked, you told me your plan was to do blank. Is that still your plan? That's it. That's your follow-up. And by the way, Gary and Jay and Dave talk about the importance of this in both MREA and in Shift. In MREA, page 142. MREA, page 142. The best approach to lead generation is to set up a model that you will systematically execute. People say, well, what model should I use? And I would say the answer is the one that you will systematically execute. It doesn't matter to me what it is. But if you just go figure out, hey, I'm committed to the 30-point tracker, and as part of that tracker, I'm going to do, in fact, there are 5 social media DMs a day listed in that tracker. Go Inspire members, pull out the tracker and figure out what are your non-negotiables on the tracker. Which are the ones you're going to do every day? He says you got to have a model that you will systematically execute. In Shift, he says, if you are inconsistent, this is page 75 of the Shift book. If you are inconsistent in doing your lead generation activities, you will most likely need to be really concerned about surviving, and you can absolutely forget about thriving. Is that anyone right now? That you're like concerned about surviving? If you're concerned, if you have concern about your quality of life, and where your business is right now, then you have to go back and just be real transparent. Am I inconsistent in my lead gen and lead follow-up? If you're inconsistent in your lead gen and lead follow-up, then surviving is questionable, thriving is impossible. We've got to get consistent. So here's today's tip. Go send video, text, or DMs to people that are in the pipeline, and here is the conversation. Hey, the last time we talked, you told me your plan was to do blank, right? Put your home on the market in May, buy a house this summer, whatever it is. Is that still your plan? And then never, ever, 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 ever wait more than 90 days to talk to them again. Whatever their plan is, you cut in half. And if it's less than 90 days, then that's the time frame you follow up. And if it's more than 90 days, then you do it in 90 days. All in on follow up. Aaron Nelson, what's on your mind?
One of the things that I've been doing this year that's a little different, that I learned from this group is I'm doing the RPR equity analysis reports, the new seller beta reports that are like 8 or 9 pages. And I am texting them to everybody in my database that I have a address for, following the DTD2 plan. I'm also printing and mailing them. And that has started getting me response along with like the random fun mailers I'm doing. I'm getting texts from leads that never connected with me 2 or 3 years ago saying, you know, we love your marketing. We can't sell now, but we'll keep your information. And it's not necessarily getting me business today, but it is bringing me top of mind. And that's something I wanted to share. If you guys aren't doing those RPR reports, you can text them out. It's super easy now.
Super smart. We did an equity analysis and RPR workshop for our Inspire members. I'm putting a direct link in the chat. Now, this link is only going to work for Inspire members. If you're not a member, you won't have access to it. Membership has its privileges, folks, and this is one of them. So I just put the link in the chat. If you're into that sort of thing, you can click it. Inspire members, I want to remind you that we're putting together a resource guide of this Back on Track series, where we're taking what I'm teaching, the page numbers I'm referencing in the book, and then the ideas that you all are sharing on these calls, and putting it in one resource guide that we'll send out to you after this series is over next week. So Inspire members, be on the lookout for that. Elaine, you're next. Good morning.
So real quickly, just wanted to say thank you to Lee and Paul. They read a book every single for the Smiling Dolls every day a little bit. And we had focused on ninja selling several months ago. Oh, I'd probably say several years ago, probably. And hot and warm list, that's one of the biggest pointers with the ninja selling, to carry around a hot and warm list. It's not only for energy, but it's your pipeline. And at Elevate and Advance, I've bought into the Clarity Now, and they have a really good tool in there that you can keep your pipeline in there. And also, if you don't have the money to spend on Clarity, we have Command. It's opportunities. Put all your buyers and sellers into like opportunities and keep track of them that way. But I use Excel spreadsheets for my hot and warm list. And I say contact them at least once every 2 weeks, because those are the people you want to make sure, even though we don't have inventory, we might not have something for them, just keep them in mind and communicate with them. But also, one last thing, referrals. Always, I keep a little tiny book of all the people that refer to me and who they've done. Keep in contact with those people and follow up with the referral agents that you've worked with, or the people that have referred to you.
That's perfect. Thank you, Elaine. Appreciate that. Jessica, you're next.
On my phone today trying to find the mute button. So from a continuous MREA team with a 200 plus touch follow-up plan, none of it works if we don't make the calls. And so every week I'm telling the agents who they're calling, why they're calling, what they're calling about, because all of our follow-up is smiley, pretty faces. But if that face never talks to the client doesn't remember who we are from the person standing next to them. It's about the phone calls. And so that's where our follow-up is. That's what we do every single week. And today actually is team meeting. We go over lead gen numbers and what are the calls. And so we have to be consistent.
You know, it's interesting because when I was working for Jana,
Oh, God.
Okay, hold on. Let me put it on mute real quick. When I was working for Jana, one of my jobs, Jessica, was to meet with all of the buyer agents and listing agents and go review their pipeline line by line by line. Who's this one? What's going on with them? Who's this one? What's going on with them? And they hated that, right? Nobody really likes that level of accountability.
See, that's my favorite part, James. But yes, the agents hate
well,
it.
you like it, but
Yep.
the agents don't necessarily like it because the agent is a salesperson and likes people and knows they've got stuff coming and believes they're going to close everybody and thinks it's always going to work out. And what you and I wanted to do was to be able to go through and offer help. What objection are you hearing? Is this someone that we can take back from you and put in our follow-up system and give back to you when they're a little bit hotter? Like, I just wanted to know that. And so at first they didn't like it, but I'll tell you what, after about 2 or 3 months of that, when they were increasing the number of deals they were closing, they loved it. They absolutely loved it. So if you are if people on this call, if you do not have some sort of system to review your pipeline and have an honest look at what's happening in it, you're going to lose out on deals. And those deals will happen. They'll just happen with someone else. You're going to do all this work and not get paid for it. And I want you to get paid. Cash Money Records. Now I'm going to skip ahead because Lee Corey is so good. It is it's, I don't know, S. What letter goes with S?
You.
S and U week. And so you reached out to me and I'm just so proud of you. So you get to go next. Good morning.
Thank you. Thank you. One of the things in terms of follow-up is this little tool that Command gives us, which is called tasks. You can set a task for any of your contacts. So if you're like a little bit like me, you forget that you're supposed to call somebody in 2 weeks. So you simply just assign a task and it pops up. Now, the key is you have to check the task folder every day, but it's there for you. So
That's
I
what
just
he
wanted to
says.
share that.
What page was it, Lee? Did you write down the page number I referenced this morning? I closed my book.
142 in MREA.
Okay, so page 142, this is what he says. Again, he says, you have to have a model that you will systematically execute. Like following the task plan and Command is a model that you can systematically execute. If you're not going to be someone who logs into Command every day, then don't set tasks in Command because you will not systematically execute it. Go find something that you will systematically execute. That's how you succeed. Lee Corey, I appreciate you. You're a good person. Ellie McIntyre, how you doing? You've been on my mind this week, friend.
I just got a text message that he has now seen 4 of the 5 big animals, and he just loves the safari in South Africa.
Oh,
So
that's so cool.
yeah, literally, he's texting while I'm talking to you, which is interesting because now I don't have somebody to communicate with. I have found that on a Sunday night, and I know people on Early Birds have heard this, on a Sunday night, I will sit in front of my computer and all I do is take a screenshot of somebody's value through RPR. And it doesn't matter if the value is not really there or as long as it's more than what they paid for it. And I just text it to them. And at this point, I'm like, this is what somebody who doesn't have a kid at home does on a Sunday night. And the interaction I get is close to 90% of people that come back to me and I have a two-way conversation because I do so many events that sometimes I wonder that they forget that I'm not an event planner, but I'm a real estate agent. So this is a way of bringing it back. But one of the tools that I've used recently is to go through my entire database with the DTD2 and then guess when I think they're going to move, because some people are never going to move. Some people are in their forever house. They've got a kindergartner and they're going to be there till the child that was just born goes to high school. But you need to put in there when you think they are going to move and update that on a regular basis and just ask them when you're calling them, which you have to do, just ask them, when do you think you will move? And you make a note of that and use notes in Command. Like Lee says, she uses tasks. I use notes.
Whatever works for you. Thank you, Ellie. Matt Cannon, good morning.
Good morning, James from El Paso. Hey, so your database, you got to be in a relationship, and what you focus on expands. So one thing we do is every Monday, we sit down and we brain dump, our top 10 leads list. So we think about, the top 10, and you just write it out. And then you keep it. You look at the one from last week, and you scratch off the ones that aren't there anymore, and you add the ones that are on there. So you got to constantly be looking and focusing on follow-up because we know that the first job of a real estate agent, is lead generate, but number two is lead follow-up. So you have to think about it. You have to focus on it. The best way to tell yourself what to do in the future is every time you make a phone call, put the notes in, tell yourself what to do next. That way your future self doesn't forget about your lead, but you always got to focus on it.
100%. In fact, I would suggest that some of you don't need to actually do any more lead generation. You just need to do some follow-up. You've got plenty of people. Go follow up with them. So here's your kind of challenge for today in our Back on Track series is social media, DM, or text DMs. Well, text is a DM. A video one though, maybe if that's your jam. If it's not your jam, don't do it. But a video one. Hey, the last time we talked, you told me your plan was to do blank. Is that still your plan? Do just 5 of those today and see what happens. Now we'll be back for part 3 of this tomorrow. I'll be back home. We'll do part 3 of this tomorrow, and we'll do the same kind of format we've done the other days. I think is tomorrow, Friday. We're not going to do a next question tomorrow. We're going to go do a recap of today's call. Like, what did you do from today's call? We'll do that at 7:30. And then at 8 o'clock, I'll teach you part 3 of the Back on Track series. Lansing, I'm on my way to see you for Rise. Everybody else will see you tomorrow. You got your inspiration. Go put in the perspiration. Bye.